Caroline Roch. I'm a French pharmacist. I graduated from the School of Pharmacy of Paris South. And then I did my PhD under the supervision of Elias Fatal about gene delivery. I did a postdoc at the UNMC in the US under the guidance of Sasha Kavanaugh, and then came back to France. In 2014, I was hired as assistant professor at the School of Pharmacy of Paris. And I started to develop with Karine Andrieux, the master dedicated to nanomedicine, so the European master's degree, which is called NANOMED. So I've been working on nanosystems since I started my research career, working on gene delivery systems. And now I've been moving more forward with oxidative stress, either working on therapeutics that are targeting oxidative stress, or systems of formulation for imaging of oxidative stress. So since I was in high school, actually, when I was wondering what I would do as a future career, I was trying to find out what I would be willing to invest myself in and what I wanted to do. And I was really liking in high school everything about science, biology, chemistry, mathematics, etc. I didn't know anything about pharmacy studies, and actually when I found out and I knew better about that curriculum, I was feeling like it was very much fitting what I wanted to do, because it is very transversal and it's covering lots of subjects of the development of medications. So I was very interested in, and during my first year, actually we had a professor that were really very enthusiastic, and he was telling us all the bases about formulation, how you're supposed to mix together ingredients, etc. And I was finding it super interesting. Since I was a kid, I was passionate about cooking, and for me it was reminding me of the number of hours that I was spending cooking, so I was liking it very much. But on a scientific side of how you can mix together different components, make them make a formulation out of it, etc. And so I did a couple of internships in a formulation lab at Paris South University, and then I really felt like home, like it was the place for me. And as far as I can remember, the thing I was fearing the most is to get bored. And so I really wanted to make sure that for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I would work on something. I would really want to get up in the morning and be happy to go to work. And so I was really trying very hard to find a place where I would be happy and feeling that I could do something. And I figured out that not only was I passionate about research, I love research, as it really feels extraordinary when you feel that your brain is really working very hard, that you have these ideas coming through after long, numerous days thinking about a problem, a scientific problem, and suddenly you start seeing something and you take that thread and slowly you get into what you feel like might be a good idea. And also I felt like I was super interested in teaching, and I really love that part of my job, which is sharing with students, getting a lot from the students too, learning from them, and also trying to share with them some of my knowledge, some of the things I know. And I think one of the most important things I would like to share with them is whatever they choose to do, whatever topic, domain they want to get into, is to feel like it's something they are really passionate about, and they would want to invest their energy, their time, and their life into. So What I think is very important is try to find out what people really are passionate about, and this requires to really dig into, not to get to what looks like glamorous or be what's a hot topic at the moment, but really figure out whether what you're seeing from the outside really is something you would invest years, tens of years into, and then once you find out what you would like to do, to really try to be consistent, try to find out as much opportunities as possible to really evaluate whether in the academic environment or company, whether the actual type of job it's related to is actually something you would like to invest into. Okay, so actually the NANOMED program is started through a research collaboration. Sofia Antimisiaris from Patras in Greece and Karine Andrieux from Paris in France were both working together on a European-funded research project. And so they were discussing together about launching a program between France and Greece, a master's degree about formulation and more specifically nanomedicine. And then they found out about those Erasmus-funded teaching program, joint master's degrees. And from there, they were trying to build a broader consortium. So they were also collaborating in Italy with Carla Caramella. So they reached out to Carla in Pavia, Italy. And also after a little bit of benchmarking of the existing master's degree in the domain, we also contacted Émilie Roger and Marie-Claire Venier in Angers. And that's how, in the first place, we built the consortium. We got together, we worked on the program, how to organize a good curriculum, what would be important to teach, what are the different aspects that we wanted to cover, what would be the main focus of the curriculum, etc. So we had a first funding by the European Commission that was financing 3 intakes for NANOMED. And last year we reapplied for renewal of our funding, and we received a second funding that is currently covering 4 new intakes for our joint master degree. So actually, at the time we first applied for the funding by the European Commission, there was no joint degree on nanomedicine. So we thought that this emerging field, although not new, but could really benefit from such a consortium, putting together the expertise, the knowledge, the labs, the research environment of more than just one lab, one person, or one country, but put it together with other people from diverse environment, diverse horizons. And so we could really do something that would help cover what we feel are the major topics or major aspects of the formulation in nanomedicine. And that type of subject really required to have something a little bit bigger than what we can do on our own, and it could really benefit and provide additional value to the curriculum, to the students, to their training, to the environment that we can provide if we could build something together. So actually, what we're covering in our master's degree is more specifically the formulation and drug delivery related to nanomedicine. What formulation is about is that a chemical or biological molecule will become a drug if you get the right formulation for it. Basically, you need to have it at the right place at the right time. And for this, you need to design a formulation that will be taking into account the characteristics of your molecule of interest and the type of disease, the type of patient, their characteristics, the route of administration, etc., that will make it an efficient therapeutic option. And so that's basically what we're interested in. At the nano levels, basically, we're trying to build nano objects, so of nano size, and trying to encapsulate or some active pharmaceutical ingredients and to have even more powerful drugs on the market with less side effects or detrimental effects towards the patient. So that's basically what we're looking for, and that's what we're interested in and focusing on in our curriculum. So what we've been trying to achieve with that curriculum is to attract people with diverse background, coming either from more biological or more chemistry background, as well as pharmacists or physicians. And that's very important to us that we have people with diverse background, because we feel it really makes the experience better to build on those different competencies, different expertise, and put that all together with what we can provide in the curriculum to have really a true, very different experience from the student side. Our curriculum is pretty, it's not easy to get into because we have lots of application every year, especially because we get that support from the European Commission for our curriculum. And so what we're looking primarily into when we're reviewing the files submitted by the applicants, of course, because our curriculum is pretty intense in terms of workload and capacities expected from the students. We're looking at the academic background, especially looking the topics that are related or close to the one we are teaching, trying to figure out if the students has the basic capacity to follow easily the curriculum. And also, because it's an English taught curriculum, we are looking for the English capacities of our students. Something which is very important to us is when we are reading the motivation letter to see a clear and consistent and to feel the motivation towards not only nanomedicine, but really the formulation, drug delivery within the nanomedicine topic. Also, something that we value, but that might not be necessarily easy for the students, depending where they are coming from, is to check whether they have had a chance to get some practical experience, not only in nanomedicine, but have they been working in a research lab on research projects already? Have they been doing a little bit of formulation or not? Do they really have do we really feel that they have really an idea what they might be getting into if they enter the curriculum? And finally, of course, we are paying attention to the reference letter that are provided by past mentors or supervisor of the students, and trying to figure out if overall, we're trying to evaluate whether we think the students can fit within the curriculum and whether we think they might really beneficiate from the training and teaching we are providing. Regarding students who would like to apply for a master's degree, I think what's really important is that you know what it is about, that you know really what the topic is and exactly what it will cover, and you find out whether it's really in line with what you're expecting, what you're looking for to develop your future career. So I think that's super important. Then at the PhD level, I think I got advice from a mentor when I was a young student. If I wanted to be a PhD, I should be able to cope with frustration because not everything is working. Sometimes it's just the experiments not working, the apparatus not working, etc. So you get to be patient, you get to be able to cope with frustration. And the second thing is that what he was telling me that you cannot lock your brain like you lock the door of your office. So pretty much when you're into science, when you're doing research, you're thinking about it, maybe not all the time, but it can be in the background actually all the time. And sometimes you think of something. And it's very important to have people surrounding you who are supportive, who can understand, because doing a PhD requires lots of energy, lots of dedication. And it's great. I'm not saying it's a horrible experience, not at all. It's great. But you get to be aware of that. And there will be great moments when you achieve something, when you find something super interesting, when your project clearly moves forward, but there will be difficult times. And if you're not really passionate about what you are working on, it will be really, really difficult to cope with those difficult moments. So I think that's very important. And also another thing that I think is very valuable and important is to maintain communication with other scientists, because that's how you get new ideas, how you refine your ideas, how you overcome some technical hurdles you might be having. And of course, having a mentor with whom you get along well with on the scientific level is quite important, because when you're a young scientist, either a master's student, a PhD student, a young postdoc, to be able to grow the best possible way, having someone who will be gently guiding you to express your full potential is really a great asset, actually. I think overlooking soft skills are as non-necessary is probably a huge mistake. So you should not overlook soft skills, because they are as important, the way you behave with others, because once more you're not alone, and know how to communicate, whether it's in scientific environment, to be able to highlight what your work has been about, and to convey your ideas and what you've been, what your findings are, etc. is super important. It's very important to be able to work in a good environment, and so to maintain good relationships with everyone. Also to be able to work with people that are from other backgrounds and that you can learn techniques from or exchange ideas with to enrich your project. So I think those are extremely important skills for scientists, actually, and in general, whatever the environment you're working in. So I think what's really important in mentoring other students or other people is to try to train them the best way for what seems important for you. To get them to understand that it's not enough to like push a button, but understand really the techniques that they are using, trying to share with them as much knowledge, help them as much as possible gain independence in their work. I think the thing that we can be most proud of is when we see our students grow, become independent scientists, develop their own ideas. There's nothing that could be more satisfactory to me. And giving them confidence that they can be those independent scientists, and really find what they are motivated by and express their full potential. I think as a mentor, we are here to guide them, help them develop their full potential, help them understand how to best express their ideas, their personalities, so they can make the best out of the time they're spending in our lab. And I hope what I'm sharing with them is being passionate about what you're doing it seriously, but not overly how to say, like heavy. that you can actually enjoy what you're doing, really feel happy about what you're doing, but being very meticulous and serious in your work at the same time. Is finding that balance is what I like to share with them.